Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So this video has to do with the Romanians, and I'm so excited to find out how the Romanians will accept that they were screwed from behind for at least 30 years. Why is that? Well, the Americans recognize the criminal Putin and the evil Russians as being, acceptable dudes. The Americans are cooperating with the Russians, and they will, as the Romanian media says, give Ukraine to Russia. And the evil Russians will hurt everybody now. So you're lost in the cold? So your ally, the Americans, that we've been waiting for during the communist times, is nothing but a shyster? Is that what it is? Now, how are you going to reconcile your propagandized, regimented brain since childhood to hate the Russians? Now, the Americans are partners with the Russians. NATO, oh, you are under occupation over there. So how are you going to reconcile that? My friends, I'm going to give you direct experience and knowledge accumulated through observation and personal, how should I put it, interest. That is reading, listening, watching about Romania and the propaganda that was pushed to hate the Russians in Romania. First rule and the first scheme is this. They, in charge of Romania, the mass media and not only, politicians, they are trying to put together, conflate, overlap Soviet Union with Russia. So yes, Romania was hurt by Soviet Union during the communist times. But the Soviet Union that they are thinking of was the one with the gulags, the one with Stalin, the one with Trotsky, the one with Kaganovich, not the one with Khrushchev. Khrushchev withdrew Soviet troops from Romania, if you remember. Not with Brezhnev, Andropov, and Gorbachev. Those were Russians. The other ones were not Russians. But you've been fooled, and they tried to fool me until I started understanding things by opening my horizon, widening it. That actually the first part of Soviet Union until about 1963, when Stalin died, was owned by aliens, not by the Russians, by aliens. I want you to go and see their names, and then see their real names, and then find their ethnic origin. Non-Russians. After 1963, after Stalin died in March 5th, if I remember correctly, Russia, Soviet Union, if you want, gained its Russian independence to a certain extent. Remember, Soviet Union was formed from Ukraine, Moldova, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Bagastan, Bogustan, and so on. They were made together, put together. So what these guys are hating the policies implemented by the non-Russians in Soviet Union. But you can't say that because Romania was also owned by the same aliens during the communist times. Even Ceausescu tried to get rid of, remember, Pacepa, the second in command of the Romanian intelligence services, the second in command. He was never the first, the second in command. He was also an alien guy, like Kaganovich. They were from the same group. Anyway, go and check Pacepa, General Pacepa, okay, origin. So Ceausescu, obviously, and the mass media, the one that were, and the educational system, and the Uniunea Scriitorilor Români, the Romanian Writers Union, was owned by these guys with different names. They were Romanian names, but they were aliens. And they taught us to hate the Russians. Why? Because the Russians, eventually, they got rid of them, including Putin. Putin got rid big time of the Abramoviches and all those Steins. That's a reason why. So now what are you going to do? Because at least, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, you've been told that you need to hate those guys because they conflated the Russians with those criminals until 1950-some, when they were the gulags, when it was the canal, when it was the black knock on the door, the black vans, and with commissars, certain origin, not all of them, knocking at your door. That was until 1970 in Romania and in Russia. Why? The alien style was rooted out almost completely. Kaganovich, Lazar Kaganovich, died in 1993, if I remember correctly. Nice, peaceful in bed. Go and check him out. But before we go to that and stop the hatred towards the Russians, even the Soviets, we should go and lay the blame on the free world, on the United States of America, Great Britain, France. Now you can say, Emil, you're crazy. No, I'm not. Romania, as Poland, as Czechoslovakia, as Bulgaria, were given, Hungary, were given by the free world to those aliens which are the communists in Soviet Union. How? The treaties, Potsdam. Remember Potsdam? Remember Yalta? Opa, meow, what are you doing? Yalta. And not only, they met, my friends. They met. Crimea, right over there. What did they talk about? You're going to take this, I'm going to take this. So they gave us away. The free world gave us away to the aliens. And the aliens put their dummies in charge of our countries. Go and check your Polish leadership in the communist times, and you're going to find a lot of non-Polish. The same with Hungary, and so on. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. So your hatred is misplaced through propaganda and deliberate misinformation or disinformation. No, my friends, now what are you going to do? Trump, the free world, tells us that Putin is okay to talk to and negotiate with. What are you going to do? Are you going to start loving them? Or what are you going to do? This is my problem with the people now in Romania. A lot of them. We're going to have this, so the Americans talked to Stalin. Stalin was a mass murderer, a Gruzin. He was a Georgian, not a Russian. They spoke with Trotsky. Mr. Bronstein, his name, real name. They spoke with many other criminals. So when you thought that the Americans should come, the Americans dropped 2 atomic bombs on 2 civilian cities. The Americans attacked Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, overthrew governments in South America, fought the Korean War for the idiot French. They were losing Indochina. I mean, if you want to go like that, they overthrew the government in 1953 in Iran. And we say, why do the Iranians hate us with their Islamic Revolution 1979, Khomeini? Where was Khomeini when he was parachuted into Tehran? I think it was in Paris, if I remember correctly. Where was Lenin? Where's Lenin when he was parachuted in St. Petersburg, Russia, to start the Bolshevik Revolution, steal it from the Russian Revolution? He was in Switzerland. Where was Mr. Bronstein, aka Trotsky, when he was getting ready for the Bolshevik Revolution, to steal the Russian Revolution? He was in New York. What was he doing over there? Trying to get loans, money. From whom? From his people. So, my friends, your hatred towards the Russians, my fellow Romanians, is very much misplaced. Very much misplaced. Look at the facts. I mean, after all, we gained our independence in 1877 through the help of the Russian Tsars against the Turks. Now, the Russians did not want to give us, but who kept us? With the acceptance of France and Great Britain, who were busy. They didn't want a free Romania, or like the 2 principles coming together, Moldova and the old kingdom, as they call it. No, nobody wanted it. We took it. So the same here. I guess right now they have to say that we change our policy. So if Trump, the United States of America, Trump did not do things from his own balls. He did it because the people behind him, military-industrial complex, the interest, financial interest, the economic interest in the United States of America, they told him, switch gears now. So if they dropped, or tracks, if they dropped Ukraine, they went to war with Russia for Ukraine, what do you think they will do with you? Romania. And if you think they will not do this because of NATO, really? Why? Why do you think? What do you think is so special about NATO? NATO right now is just regrouping. They tried to destroy those guys, the evil Russians, the Putins, and they didn't. They couldn't. So what do you think they will do? My friends, it's a saying in Romania. How is that? Legea e făcută pentru căței. The law, are they going to come behind me? Go there. The law is made for the little puppies to follow, not the big dogs. The big dogs that have their understanding. Sometimes they collide. But the victims are always the little ones. Remember, it's an Indian, or I don't know if it's Hindu saying. What, meow? It says this: when the elephants fight, the grass dies, it gets destroyed. So when the Americans and the Russians fight, the little ones are going to crumble and going to be affected. The same here. If Russia and USA cooperate right now, they will cut and do whatever. Russia right now is going to be given some sphere of influence, and Romania is in Russia's sphere of influence. That's next. What are you going to do? Pick up a weapon and fight the Russians? Look what happened to the Ukrainians. I got to remind you, Romania has about 17 million people population, with about, I don't know, about 7 million people in the diaspora. So you got 17 million people. Ukraine had 52 in 1991, and then it had 42 million. So double, triple almost than Romania. When the war started, they were at least double than the population of Romania. What are you going to do with a land, at least 2 times bigger? So be careful. They're going to drop you as soon as the elephants decide. So what are you going to do? I'm so happy about it. You got to change something in your brain. That is, your ally, your defender will drop you just like this. Why? You don't matter. You're just a little chip over there in their little negotiation table. That's it. And they're going to be a give and take. I'm so happy. I can't tell you how happy. You know why? Because you can always use this argument to shut an imbecile over there, which is from Romania, saying, hey, what about this one? And I guarantee you it's going to come with the justifications. Those guys fought a war against Russia. Or they didn't put the army over there. If the United States of America, the interest dictate tomorrow that Romania is going to be Russia's sphere of influence, I guarantee 100% there's going to be a done deal. You're going to belong to Russia's sphere of influence. You are Russia's sphere of influence as long as Russia is alive, not Germany's, alive and as it is, strong, patriotic and nationalistic. That's the way it is. Then what are they going to do? Well, you say, Romania has to deal with this. Yeah, you have to be a little lady of the night here and play with, but why do you just jump on one boat? Like this guy say, you put your eggs in one basket. Why? Who pushed you to hate those guys? I think I started at the beginning to give you the hints. You should not. You hate your neighbor that you have a fence with, but you love the neighbor who's which dropped 2 atomic bombs. And I'm going to mention that because Russia did not. Right? So you're going to be friends with those guys over there coming here, but not with your neighbor, next door neighbor. How idiotic that is. I mean, under any kind of cultural, mystic understanding of people's traditions, doesn't say be friends with the guy from 3 villages down there and be an enemy to the next door neighbor. Never you're going to find this kind of idiotic thing. Why? Because it's wrong. It's bad. Life proved it over and over again. And that's what the Romanians do. They were pushed to it. So get your little garbage off you and your brain, get it out, all right, and reassess your things. You should not hate the Russians. You should not love the Russians. You should love Romania. And look at Romanians' interest and Romanian people's interest. Not Romania overall. You bring, 2 million from Zimbabwe, 5 million from, Mozambique, and that's Romania. It is Romania, but is that of Romanians? So, my friends, I'm glad. Don't hate those guys. You can use them, and they're gonna abuse you, right? As these guys abuse you right now. Play with everybody, like India. But are you allowed? At least you are allowed to remain intellectually honest. Even if Romania is occupied militarily, politically, economically, culturally by some garbage from the West that tries to occupy the West as well with its ideology, the same guys that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you can remain intellectually honest. That's what you need to do. To say, yeah, you say that, but I know it's not like that. You don't fool me. So when you write your comments on Facebook, or when you write your comments on this channel or other channels, or when you read newspapers, or when you watch programs, you remain with your brain intact. Thank you very much. What that means? Honest. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.